Hey guys, RanterInShades, or exercise my first human rights vlog style, and welcome to episode 6 of Shades Shirt Collection. This will be the last video I make for this series for this year before 2017 starts. After this episode, the series is either going to be an annual thing or a biannual thing, which would have the next episode take place likely in June. But if I don't have as much material by then, I'll make it a yearly thing. So let's pick up where we left off and begin episode 6. So we left off at around July of 2016. And the next shirt that we're going to start out with here is Breaking Benjamin, a band that I got a shirt of when I saw them in 2015, but I liked this design a considerable amount better than that one, so I picked this up. This was at a show that Disturbed was headlining, and they also had Alter Bridge and Saint Sonia on the bill. I would have gotten an Alter Bridge shirt, but I didn't really like the design that they had. But the Breaking Benjamin one, I did like the design. It's pretty cool and simplistic and whatnot. Features their, flower made out of the letter B. It has the name written down here in the way that it's normally printed, and on the back we have tour dates and more fun designs and all that. And I saw them at, it says Boston, but it was technically in Mansfield at the Xfinity Center, which I love going to in Massachusetts. It's more for large-scale shows. And this was the show where David Draymond gave his speech about equality and all that. And Official GATG and I did a collab about this on his channel that I'll have linked in the description. So, moving on. This next shirt comes from a show that I went to around the end of August. And this would be another one of my favorite new bands, probably my favorite new band from like the last few years, and this would be none other than Chon. I love Chon so much. I mean, I'm a sucker for instrumental music, and what Chon does, with their fusion of progressive rock and math rock, it's just so cool and so relaxing to hear. I'm never in a bad mood listening to Chon. If you've never listened to Chon before, do yourself a favor. Chon is one of the best fucking bands ever. I'm serious. And this was the design I liked best. It features, their sort of 60s style logo, and this whole thing looks kind of 60s. It looks tie-dye. I like the colors and all that. It's a pretty nice shirt. So, yeah. Fortunately, this isn't a tour shirt, so moving on. This next shirt I got at the same show that I saw Chon at. Chon was opening for none other than Periphery. Periphery is another one of my favorite modern bands. I love the gent stuff, I love the prog stuff, and Periphery is like one of the most essential bands really going with this thing. It's truly nice. I like the design. The shirt actually feels comfy too. It's not too out there, it's not too simplistic. It's actually a cool design, and it's a cool design on the back too. And with everything sort of being crammed up here, with the font being kind of small, saw them August 30th at the Paradise Rock Club. Kind of a small venue, but good for like really hectic hardcore stuff. And this was apparently called the Sonic Unrest Tour. Pretty cool design on the back. Apart from Chon, they also had Tooth Grinder and Sixth on the bill. And Sixth, it was their first time playing in the US. And Tooth Grinder, I'd been into them for about a year. I got into them because I was interning at a college radio station a year ago, and they gave me a copy of their EP Schizophrenic Jubilee because it was a envelope copy that was, too thin to put a sticker on for their CD library, so they gave it to me for free. I gave it a listen and thought, hey, this band is fucking cool. And they were pretty awesome live. Sixth was awesome too. They were pretty hectic. Chon, of course, unbelievable. And Periphery, goodness gracious. This was a really fucking fun show. It's a show I call the Proggening, because these are all prog bands playing. And I love the stuff, and hopefully you do too. Next, we got a shirt from an artist that I saw later that week, actually, out in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And this would be a progressive metal guitar virtuoso named Angel Vivaldi. We see Angel written up here, Vivaldi down here, upside down, and this is basically his logo, basically made up of an A and a V and all that, or numerous V's, actually. Angel Vivaldi's incredible. He's an unbelievable guitarist, and he was co-headlining this bill with Gus G, who is best known for being Ozzy Osbourne's current guitarist, as well as the guitarist in Firewind and Dream Evil, and maybe some other bands that aren't coming to mind, but those are the bands he's best known for being a part of. And Gus G also has some solo material that he was also playing. I was mainly going for Angel because, you know, as much as I like Gus, I'm just more so into Angel, and I figured, you know, hey, you know, I talk about this guy all the time with Official GATG, I kind of need to see him live, so I did, and I had a ballin' time. The show is also noteworthy for being the show where I first caught a drumstick at. Let me bring this up closer. You can tell it's been played to death. It is a Vic Firth American Classic 5B. And the drummer that was playing with both Angel and Gus, they were basically sharing a bassist and drummer. And when their drummer was tossing his stuff out, I got this drumstick. It was really cool. I also want to talk about the opening bands that I saw at this show. Only 3 of them, there were 5 in total, 3 of them I think are really exceptional, and I'm going to recommend to you right here and have linked in the description. The first is a progressive metalcore band called George Orwell the Musical. Really, really silly name, but they're actually really, really good. And these bands are all that I'm going to be talking about, they're all local over here, so, you know, they're some of the best that I think my city has to offer. So they're a band that I definitely encourage you to check out. Another band I want you to check out, unfortunately they don't have material, but I thought they were really good. They're another progressive metalcore band. They are called The Floor's Embrace. They were really good. I'm really looking forward to when they have material available because I really liked what they had to offer there. And finally is a traditional heavy metal / power metal band called Without Warning. Normally I'm not really too into traditional metal in 2016, but you know, this singer was really awesome, the guitarist was really good, I really liked what they had to offer. They have an EP that's available that you guys should check out. The other bands, I don't exactly remember the names of. I'll probably have, you know, a caption on here saying what the names of them are. They really didn't wow me. You know, God bless them for trying, but I just wasn't blown away by them. But Angel Vivaldi, you know, he put on a really awesome set. So, yes sir. Next we have a shirt that I showed on this channel before, you know, a few months ago, that I got in a package. And if you remember that video, it is my Tuff shirt, which features the cover of their debut album, What Comes Around Goes Around. I got this shirt, if you remember from the video I made back in September. I got a package sent to me from the vocalist in this band, Stevie Rochelle. He was messaging my Facebook fan page complimenting me on my videos because he had seen my glam metal related videos, and he's like, God damn, this guy really knows his stuff. So he shot me a message, we had a nice conversation. He then asked for my address so he could send me a package, and this was one of the shirts that was in the package. And he also got me on the VIP list to meet Firehouse, who I was seeing like that week. If you're still following my channel, thank you for that again. And on the back, we got the track listing of their What Comes Around Goes Around album. And you know, this is a pretty good album. It sounds a lot like what Poison was doing. And the songs I really like on here, Rocket Pit Bridge is a good one. The All New Generation was one of the first songs I heard from them. I Hate Kissing You Goodbye is a not bad power ballad. Ain't Worth a Dime I remember really liking. So Many Seasons is pretty good. Wake Me Up is my favorite of theirs. It's another one of the power ballads. Apparently it was co-written by Bret Michaels. So that explains why it's so awesome. And Good Guys Wear Black is probably the heaviest song on the album. I'm not sure if this was actually a tour shirt from 1991, but still, nice shirt. I'm glad that I was gifted with this. And now here's the other shirt that Stevie Rochelle gave me in that package, and this is the Metal Sludge shirt. Metal Sludge is the name of his website that he runs, which is basically an 80s metal news blog and all that. It's a pretty simplistic design. It features Metal Sludge's logo. There's really nothing else to it, but I'm still appreciative that I was given this, so thank you. Next, we have a shirt that I got when I went to this show at the end of September, and I mentioned this band in the previous episode here. This band would be I the Mighty. Not sure if you can, I'll have to probably bring this up a little. There, now I think you can see the bottom. Their name is written along the side here, vertically, and have a pretty cool design here. I like how this is tie-dye and all that. Unfortunately, this isn't a tour shirt, but it's still a very cool design. Like I said before, I the Mighty is such an awesome band. I highly recommend them. Opening for them, I got exposed to some more bands over there. One of them is another local band from Boston. They're a pop-punk band. They're called Sick Vita, and they blew my mind. They were my favorite of the openers, and they have some material out there that's really great. The other bands were, you know, more post-hardcore kind of bands. The first one, which was my least favorite out of them, but they were still good, was called Picturesque. Then was a band called Artifex Pareo, which actually put out an album around the time of this show, actually. They were pretty good, and the band after them was called Dayshell. They were alright, and then I the Mighty came on and had a pretty awesome time at this show. So, yeah. Next is a shirt from a show that I went to about 1 or 2 weeks later. This was like a few days after I had turned 23, and this would be a contender with Bullet for My Valentine for my favorite metalcore band ever. They're right up there, like tied for my favorite, Parkway Drive. The design here is okay. I wish they had a bit nicer one, but it's still not bad. It has the North American Tour 2016 Unbreakable. Not bad colors, and on the back we have tour dates. And I saw them October 8th at House of Blues in Boston. This was a pretty awesome show. Parkway Drive are just such a brilliant metalcore band, and so this was something that I just knew I had to put on my concert repertoire. Opening for them, I don't know how they got added on here. It was really last minute that they got added on. The first opening band was Lich King. If you don't know Lich King, they are a new school thrash band, one of the few that I really like. They're okay. They're not up there with Havoc or Municipal Waste, but they're still a decently good thrash band, and they were basically just, you know, at the last minute attached on here. They didn't really belong because, you know, this is, you know, a metalcore show. The other two openers were Counterparts and We Came as Romans. We Came as Romans I am a fan of. Counterparts, I wasn't as big into them at the time. Nowadays I'm looking more into them. And of course Parkway Drive was very hectic. Had an awesome time. So moving on. This next shirt is not a band shirt. It is a shirt that I saw at Target when I was just, you know, cruising around one evening. And I wear this shirt a lot whenever I just don't feel like getting dressed, but it's still one of my favorite shirts. And it's this shirt over here that features a bunch of 90s Nicktoons. It looks pretty vintage, it looks kind of worn, but, you know, that's all the more to make it look vintage. Now, I'm a fan of most of the shows on here. Some of these I have never seen very much of, and probably should at some point. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say I was a big fan of All Real Monsters. I've seen a few episodes of it, and I don't know, didn't think it was as good as other stuff I was watching. So from All Real Monsters, we see the three main characters, Ickis, Sablina, and Crumb. We also have Tommy and Chucky from Rugrats. Rocko's Modern Life is a show I've seen a bit of. Obviously, I need to watch more of that because I hear very good things about it. I know the characters, though. There's Rocco, Heifer, Filbert, and Spunky. Ren and Stimpy is another show that I need to look more into. There's the two titular characters. Hey Arnold, you know, I'm a major fan of, like, fanboyish levels. It was my favorite show as a kid, and it's still a show I love. And from that show, we have Arnold, Gerald, and Helga. Angry Beavers, with Daggett and Norbert over here. That's another show that I watched a bit of at the time. I thought it was funny, but I never really got to see it very much and probably should look at it at some point. And I just realized there's another Rugrats character that I missed. Right up here is Mr. Reptar. And finally, we have Nigel Smashing Thornberry from The Wild Thornberries, which was a show that I thought was okay. Had some pretty good episodes, but I never really thought it was on the level of Hey Arnold, Rugrats, Doug, which I really wish there were some Doug characters on here because that's what I think is really missing. It would also be kind of cool if SpongeBob was on here, though SpongeBob is a bit later than those shows. But yeah, still a shirt that I love wearing, that I cherish, and yeah. Up next, we have a shirt from a show that I went to at the end of October with the same friend that I went to Warped with, as well as another friend of ours, and this would be the Wonder Years. This is a very good design. I like this shirt a lot. I like the little bull that they got over here. The font is pretty cool, the font that they use for their logo. The Wonder Years was touring with Real Friends, Knucklepuck, Moose Blood, and Seaway. Real Friends and Knucklepuck, of course, being bands that I had seen previously at Warped, and of course they got to play longer sets now, so that was actually really cool. The only problem I really had with Real Friends was the fact that Dan Lambton, the singer, went on a bit of a political rant, basically saying, you know, people here who are 18 and older, you have a duty. You need to go out and vote, but not for Donald Trump. You know, basically like that. And basically, I was basically shouting, "Stop talking about politics and play music!" And of course, I also posted that on my Facebook at that time as well. It's something that I full-heartedly believe because concerts are not the place for politics. So, anyway, let's go to the back over here, where we have tour dates. We saw them at Webster Hall on October 22nd. I made a trip out to New York. The last show I saw at Webster Hall was Silverstein back in 2015, so it's a decent-sized venue. It's pretty big, a lot of room and all there. And this show, of course, was sold out, so when I say there's a lot of room, I mean it can fill a lot of people, but there isn't as much moving room, but it was still a ballin' fucking show. Seaway, I'm a fan of them, I just never really listened to them very much at the time, and Moose Blood I basically just started listening to at the time. They put on a pretty alright set, and of course, you know, given that they're from England, they were very polite and all that. But yeah, Wonder Years, Real Friends, and Knucklepuck, those were basically, you know, the highlights of that evening. This next shirt is of a local band from the Westchester scene from up in New York. So I don't expect you to be familiar with this band if you aren't, but hopefully I can interest you in checking this band out. This band is called And the Traveler. They are a progressive rock band from Yonkers. I'm friends with the vocalist slash rhythm guitarist and their drummer on Facebook, and they were playing out in a town in Western Mass called Greenfield, and I made a trip out there because my friend AJ, who is the guitarist and vocalist of formerly One Fell Swoop, they basically, unfortunately, disbanded and reformed under a different name, which is called House Leaks, although it's just AJ and John in the band. But AJ posted that he was filling in on guitar for And the Traveler, Technically, he was filling in for their bassist because their lead guitarist was handling the bass stuff because Max, the vocalist, was lazy and whatnot and didn't really want to learn the bass stuff. But Adam, their lead guitarist, he learned the bass parts, and they got AJ to play all the lead stuff, and it was pretty goddamn swell. And the Traveler is a very unique band. Basically, what they do is they have their own sound. Like, they create their own sound using a bunch of, guitar pedals, effect pedals, and loop pedals, and various different kinds of pedals. They have big boards, all of them. And their drummer in particular, Donald, he's one of my favorite drummers ever at this point. He has kind of a jazz and hip-hop influence. He reminds me a lot of Questlove of The Roots, who is also a very amazing drummer. So if you're into progressive rock, if you're into storytelling, if you're into really unique and weird sounding bands, definitely check out And the Traveler. Now, as for the shirt here, it's a pretty neat little cartoony kind of design over here with these creatures and all that, and tails and horns and all that. I picked it up because, hey, I like this band. Let's support them, as you should. So let's move on. Next shirt is from a concert that I went to just a couple days before Election Day, and this would be Steve Vai, one of the cream of the crop guitar virtuoso musicians. Steve Vai is brilliant, and this was the 25th anniversary of the album that's being depicted over here, Passion and Warfare, which is a pretty funky cover with, all the angels going around, the flowers and fire and the borders, and you can see it over here, there's the Illuminati symbol. A lot of flags around there. The guitar looks really cool. I like those tie-dye colors. And now we get to the back. And of course I saw him in Boston, Mass. At a theater similar to the one that I saw Satriani in, where, it's not really a general admission show. People mostly sat during the show. But still, it was really cool seeing Vi up there. It featured some video appearances from Joe Satriani and John Petrucci, congratulating him on the 25th anniversary of Passion and Warfare. So yeah, this was a cool show, and it was very swell. Next, we have a shirt that I got about a week ago when I saw them. Another one of the greatest bands that ever existed. They are none other than Animals as Leaders. They were touring in support of their most recent album, The Madness of Many, which is basically what, this is basically depicting the figure on here on the cover. But of course it's in pink and green, which, first thing that comes to my mind when I think of pink and green is fucking Cosmo and Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents. But other than that, it's a pretty cool design. I didn't really like the design of the tour shirt all that much, so this one I thought was a bit more simplistic and a bit more up to my standard and all that, but unfortunately it doesn't have any tour dates on the back. But still, I'm happy with it. It's a pretty nice shirt. Animals as Leaders are, of course, brilliant. And the final shirt that I'm going to be showing you here is from a show that I went to just 2 days ago as I'm filming this. And this would be Set Your Goals. Set Your Goals, if you remember, I talked about Set Your Goals in my video of bands that I wanted to see reunite, and I included them in the video because, Christmas Eve in 2014, I saw a Facebook post from their page basically saying that the members were all, doing different things, and I was like, okay, I guess the band broke up or they're on indefinite hiatus. That sucks. Because, of all the, melodic hardcore bands out there, Set Your Goals are pretty goddamn spectacular. I love their material. And I went to see them live because about a year later, I saw a post on their page basically saying that the band had reunited and they were playing some tour dates for the 10-year anniversary of the album that's being depicted on here, Mutiny, which is their first album. It's a lot more of a hard-edge hardcore release than what they did for their other two albums, which are more melodic hardcore. I also really like their album This Will Be the Death of Us, which is a worthy contender with Mutiny for being my favorite of their albums. But, you know, since Mutiny is fucking awesome, and since I figured, you know, they'd go back on hiatus just as quickly after the tour ends, I figured, yeah, I need to fucking see this band. Set Your Goals are fucking awesome. So yeah, this is technically the back, actually. It's one of these shirts where it has the thing up in the breast area, and it's because of that that I kind of want to go online and get a different shirt of Set Your Goals, but still, you know, it's not a bad design. I forgot to mention the openers for Animals as Leaders. The band's opening for them, technically it was a singular band. It was Pliny and Intervals, or Plintervals, as people like to refer to them to as. They were great. Pliny was awesome. Intervals was cool. And opening for Set Your Goals, we had a project called Bright Green, which is a solo acoustic project of Zach Eisenstein of a pop-punk band Man Overboard. I'm not too big into acoustic acts, but he has a very good voice, so wasn't bad. Then was Can't Swim, a band that I got into earlier this year. They were alright, same with the band that came after them that I mentioned when talking about the Warped shirt in the previous episode, Like Pacific. Like Pacific were pretty good too. Their vocalist was really energetic. And then after them was a band that I had never heard of before. I got into them pretty much right then and there and downloaded their stuff when I got home. The band is called Misser. They're an emo pop-punk band. And then Set Your Goals came on, played Mutiny in its entirety, and of course, since, you know, that album is only 30 minutes long, they incorporated a good deal from their other two albums, This Will Be the Death of Us and Burning at Both Ends. This was a very hectic show, as I expected, because punk shows are just like that, and all that. So, those are all the shirts that I got this year, as well as, you know, the end of last year, and all that. So, see you whenever I make another episode for the series. Likely, like I said earlier, it'll probably be either in June, maybe July, depending on how much material I have at that point, if I make this a bi-yearly thing. Otherwise, I'll just make this a yearly thing. So, thank you for watching this video, take care, and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.